this with me? Let me hear you. It's nothing but a battle filled with fire. My heart beats fast. The blood runs hot. You guys gonna sing this with me? Let me hear you. It's nothing but a battle filled with fire. My heart beats fast. The blood runs higher. My fists are clenched. You're in the road. I don't do what you got. Otherwise. Maluski on guitar! You think you're hot! So show some respect to me and my crew, or the one you take us from. You're a victim of the digital age, a 21st century casualty. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone. Conditioned by misinformation, it's just the media telling us lies. There's lots of fiction from the truth. Society's slow and tragic demise. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone. Everyone's got their fucking opinion.
What's happening? It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, and I'm excited right off the bat. How can I not be? Our old friend and original supporter of the show, May, is out there, and that brought a big smile to my face, May. It's always nice when some of the original people come back. We're still here. We're still doing it. 5 years later. It's been 5 years. How crazy is that, huh? That's right. Rap Bones, another one there from the beginning. You know, Stephen Messina, there from the beginning. Lori Dawn, there from the beginning. Don't you people have anything better to do with yourselves than watch this fakakta show? I appreciate it. And it's good to see everyone. And hey, Jeff, how are you, buddy? Jeff Howlett, man. Good. What's up, Cross and Reason? Keeping hardcore alive. I'm too old for mosh pit. You know, I'm keeping something alive. Yeah, we're like cockroaches. Hey, Red, Gold, Green, Dub 1975. How are you? Good. This is our life. Scott Earth. What's up, buddy? Or like they say in The Godfather, this is the life we chose. Who said that in The Godfather? Not Mo Green. What's his name? Lee Strasberg. What's his name? Who says that in The God? This is the life we chose. It was business. I never asked. Who was that? Lee Strasberg. His name's escaping me. What his name is in The Godfather. Anyway, Hyman Roth. Thank you. Hyman Roth. It was Hyman Roth. Yep. Watching from the Philippines. Jed left-hander in the Philippines. I hope things are well in the Philippines. I hope the weather's nice. I hope the tropical weather's nice in the Philippines. That said, let me give you the rundown on today. Of course, our guest today is Jeff is Chris Golas. Sorry, I'm looking at the chat room at the same time. Chris Golas is coming on from Bulldoze and Agents of Man and Train of Thought. He's coming on in a little bit. We got some time before he comes on in about 20 minutes. But it is Wednesday. And as is our new tradition, with Wednesday shows, we bring on a special guest. And in this case today, it's a couple of special guests. So we're going to do 15 minutes with these special guests. And we're going to talk about this right here. You ready? Today's special guests. We are going to talk a little bit about the people that are behind this new book called The Unraveling, The Council of Crows. So this is an interesting book. We're going to bring them on in a second. Of course, Carl from Earth Crisis is involved, Keith Ward and Jeremy Mueller. And so without any further ado, let's bring them on. Hey, fellas.
What's up, Drew?
Wake up, you guys. Yeah.
We're ready.
Yeah. Good to see you. And thanks for making the time and being our special guests. And let's Carl sort of tell us who's who and what's what on the team here, and who's responsible for what with the book, and then we'll hear from Keith, and Keith will kind of give us the synopsis.
Okay, so Keith is an English teacher, a writer, and he was an agent and stand-up comedian for years. He's an adventurous guy. He backpacked through Southeast Asia. And this is my friend Jeremy. He is a poet and an artisan and a musician, bass player. And basically what happened was over all these years, I've written short stories. Mm-hmm. And one day Jeremy and I were talking about that. And he said, why don't you bring them over and we'll look through the notebooks. And on a rainy day that happened. And we picked out a couple different ones. And he said, I've got the perfect guy to help us turn this into a book. It's Keith. So we met up and we took a short story that I wrote that we all gravitated towards. And it, as the years went by, we just built layer upon layer until it became a book. And then it became 3 books and a comic. And right here, Unraveling Council of Crows it came out on Earth Day, the hardcover, and in May, the soft cover is coming out. So basically what the story is about is it has an undercurrent animal rights theme. It's about some creatures that were in a laboratory that were being essentially, tested on, and they were slated to be executed, and they fight back against the humans that are, exploiting them. So it's a science fiction story. It's for younger readers, but it basically reads like a comic book.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Keith, it reminds me a little bit. It kind of brings back some Watership Down vibes. Is that fair to say?
That is, it's exceptional to say. Okay. In fact, we had the privilege just recently to start working with Recorded Books on an audiobook version of this, and our producer also worked directly on Watership Down, and she said, this is the most fun I'm going to have in a kid's book since Watership. And so, yeah, for us, it's very much that. It's reminiscent of Watership Down. It's reminiscent of a lot of Don Bluth stuff, Secrets of NIMH and American Tail. And visually, I think we were all deeply inspired by some of those cinematic pieces and really tried to keep the movement in the text. And you'll see in the illustrations in the book, too, really has that like 80s, early 90s Don Bluth vibe to it, that two-dimensional hand-drawn animation.
Yeah, and I just put one of them up on the screen, and the animation is exceptional. It's really great. Jeremy, how do you kind of fit into this team here?
Well, like Carl said, you know, he and I have been friends for a very long time, and you know, when we actually we drive around, and we honestly, like, what it really started was we make up stories and try to make each other laugh because the radio in my car didn't work. And Carl, being, you know, the lyricist and just a natural writer, started writing things down. And we just, I don't know, one night I was like, you know, I'd love to write a story, you know, or something. And Carl's like, well, I've got all of this. So he came over. We kind of putzed around with it for a little while, and, you know, we've written lyrics and done stuff like that, but, you know, writing a novel or a book, that's a whole different thing. And I was like, you know, I know a guy, and it's like that might be able to help us out. And which is really funny, because when we sat down and we talked to Keith, there was a completely different story that we had in mind. And Carl brought these notebooks over, and Keith, we looked at this one story that Carl had written, and Keith's like, you know, I definitely would be interested, but I'd want to do this. And, you know, and it kind of, we all kind of agreed, and then it just turned into something completely different. I mean, it's similar, but very different. It kind of has, you know, a little bit of all of us in it, you know, and, you know, there's you know, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So we all co-write together, which is just, like I said, it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah,
This just in, Jonathan Buskey says, got my book in the mail yesterday, looking forward to digging in.
Oh, yeah. That is awesome.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, and I just want to let everybody know that order the book, The Unraveling the Council of Crows. It's available at www.thirdworld.com. That's third with a 3 in it. This is a beautiful, beautiful book. Really great, and a very cool premise. So keep, you know, just if as we're talking here, you know, there it is. And you guys, you got any events coming up? I mean, are you giving it a push?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. We started a couple weeks back doing the digital tour, and obviously, like, thanks so much for having us. Next week we're hitting some more podcasts, and then May we'll be doing some physical in our region, and then Media Masters is going to be putting us on a little Amtrak tour down through DC. So we'll be popping up all over the East Coast, and then we'll kind of see what happens through the fall there. But yeah, we're excited. The one that you just mentioned, that's a hardcover. It's limited to 100, signed by the 3 of us. And then the soft cover, it's available everywhere, man. You can, like, if you shop books, just type in The Unraveling Council of Crows and pick your favorite.
Our good friend and supporter, Julie Chrysler Kretschmask, how would this work for a middle school literacy class?
Oh, man. What's her name?
Julie.
Julie, brilliant question. So one of the things that we were really concerned with in this book was not just pandering to like a low level of readership, but really hitting the lexile for a middle grades reader, a middle school reader, and then also pushing that vocabulary up a little bit. So from a literacy perspective, the reliance on contemporary knowledge, historical knowledge, and then being able to apply that to the future. I mean, we kind of tagline this, like, if you remember in A Christmas Carol by Dickens, Scrooge is sitting there like meeting the ghost of Christmas future and like sees his own grave. He's like, yo, please tell me this can change. And then he has to go and kind of rearrange his life in order to not be dead. That's sort of the premise of this book. It really hits on that. Like, if we do nothing, this could be the future. If we choose to change, dude, how cool could it be to be more responsible to the planet we live on, you know?
Yeah.
And the book's about a lot of things. It's not just about animal rights. It's also about how humans treat each other and trying to overcome this whole compete, conquer, exploit mentality we've all been raised with. And like the mercenary group that owns the lab that tests on the animals is kind of a stand-in for what nations do, what corporations do. So hopefully it'll be an introduction for young readers to all those types of concepts, and going forward they'll, have the knowledge and the basis to make compassionate choices.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, and Julie says, I would use it for ESL curriculum too. I'm not sure personally what ESL curriculum
Yeah,
is.
so ESL is just English as a second language, and I think it's a great adoption for an ESL or an ELL teacher, ENL. A lot of kids who are learning English as they move through the education system. I think this book works really well. One, it's a fable, so it stars animals, and two, it's got I think 9 or 10 different illustrations in it. Also, it's large fonted for younger eyes, so it's an easier read. You kind of move through the pages quicker. So yeah, I would say, Julie, this really is in so many ways written for that audience, and
Right
I
on.
think ESL would totally connect to it.
English as a second language. Thank
Right.
you, Kano. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Hey, Dominic, what's happening? Yeah, that makes sense, Kano. I could totally see this being an excellent read for middle readers. Sure. Is this? And I know you can't see this, but I'm putting it up. I'll ask you. What's this Saturday, May 24th at Barnes and Noble's up there? You're doing is it Liverpool, New York?
Yep, Clay, New York, or Liverpool. We're doing a reading and a signing from 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m.
Very cool.
We'll also be, kind of like on the vibe of the hardcore thing too. We'll be in mid-May. I think the 16th. We're gonna be out in Buffalo at Burning Books, and they specialize in like all the stuff that you're not supposed to read, and welcomed us on board to come and do a talk there as well. So like we're really psyched to go meet those people too. They're awesome.
Yeah.
They have a vast collection of books about things like the Sea Shepherds and the Animal Liberation Front, the Black Panthers, all that kind of stuff. So I think we'll fit in well with that crowd.
Yeah, it's up there in northern New York. It's amazing. What a great state we live in. And May asks, "There's a Liverpool, New York? Do they have Scouse accents too? I never knew there was a Liverpool, New York. I'm assuming it's right outside Syracuse, right?
It is. Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Stephen, I think I need to get this book. You sold me. I recommend picking it up right here at www.thirdwitha3world.com, because that seems like sort of like the very cool limited edition version, right, Keith?
Yeah, man. There's, like I said, we did 100 of those, and it's literally a production of 100. There's no extras. Even our copies that we stole out of the pile, it's now 97. And then we did sales yesterday too. So yeah, if you want the limited edition, you want Carl's signature and Jeremy's signature, and then my vomit. You get one of those. Otherwise, like I said, at Third World, you can also get the soft cover too. But yeah, that one's really special to us. Also, the hardcover comes with the first sketch that ever happened for our book by this great dude named Zulfikar Rahman out of Indonesia. He did that cover concept, and we loved it so much we got the publisher to put it on the special edition. So even that's special for us.
Yeah.
Shout out to Zul. He crushed it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Great artwork. Very thankful for his talent and devotion to the project.
Tim Reichel, big supporter, asks, when are y'all in Buffalo again?
We'll be out there the 16th of May, and then it'll all kind of come down to bookstores after that. So I wouldn't be surprised if we were back in around Christmas time, just depending on schedule.
Fantastic. Well, I wish you all the best with the unraveling the Council of Crows. Is there anybody you guys want to thank? Is there anybody you guys want to shout out?
Yes. Thanks to everyone who has been going to our website and following via our online presence. And thanks to everybody who supports and appreciates Earth Crisis and Apocalypse Tribe and Freya as well. Just real quick, want to shout out my friends in Rig Time from Wisconsin. Awesome band. Everyone needs to check out. They've been making a lot of noise lately. And Earth Crisis is going to be doing some shows with Judge and Integrity this fall, and we're going to Europe, and I think we're playing Rebellion Festival, and then Frey is going to be in Europe. So this is a busy year for our writing team and our bands.
Fantastic. Keith, Jeremy, anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I'd like to, obviously our families for kind of letting us do this for the past 10 years, and not asking questions. And it's been a long process, but we've had a lot of fun, and they've been very, very supportive. I'd also love to thank Ingrid Newkirk, Moby, Keegan Kuhn, and Andy Hurley for their time and for their beautiful poll quotes that they gave to us. That meant a lot to us.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
shout out for our team to Melissa Mueller, who's been taking care of our social and our production team, Michael DeVito and David Rodriguez. The support behind this, like all things, man, there's no such thing as one, and it's been great to just build more tribe. And Drew, thanks so much for hosting us and giving us a spot to share, our latest work and what Carl's up to. Because when he's not screaming on stage, he's writing books for children. So who'd have thought? Huh?
Yeah, and May says, "Yep, going to see Earth Crisis at Super Bowl of Hardcore in France."
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
So it's going down. So thanks a lot. All the best to you guys. I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, thanks, Drew. Thanks
you.
again, Drew. Thank you.
Take care. My pleasure. All right. And we're on our way. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. We are sponsored by the Texas Silver Rush, DTFM Vinyl Distro, Generation Records, Mad Vintage, Women of the Pit, and 126 Hardcore Clothing. They're a streetwear brand for restless individuals who don't compromise. They're about being positive, spontaneous, and true to yourself. For years, they experimented with several printing methods and materials and collaborated with a large number of designers and illustrators, always giving room for fresh perspectives while retaining the hardcore attitude. Get in touch with them. Ramp up your weak-ass clothing game. www.126clothing.com. Here we go. Are you ready? It's time for Big Polish. Who's ready for Big Polish, huh? Come on, I'm excited. Good. And how can we lose with the stuff that we use? We got May back in the chat room. Yo, Sean Dixon in the chat room. What's going on here? Wow, they're coming out of the woodwork. SD, May, Bear Bro. Come on now. How can we lose with the stuff that we use? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, today's guest is a Polish-American drummer hailing from the Garden State of New Jersey. He's known for his work with the bands Train of Thought, Agents of Man, and of course, the highly influential beatdown pioneers, Bulldoze. Please welcome, coming at us from lovely Hillsborough, New Jersey, Chris Golas. Ha!
What's up, everybody?
How are you, buddy?
What's up, Drew?
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you too, man. How you doing?
Everything worked out. You picked up the kid. You got off work. It's all good.
Yeah, I made it in time. Thank you for being patient with me. Yeah,
it worked out great. We brought Carl from Earth Crisis on to talk a little bit about their project, and we got a whole bunch of people coming out to see you today. You know,
that's cool.
You
know,
I
got to listen to some of the stuff Carl was talking about on the ride here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yep. So that's
funny story.
Go ahead.
Behind the big Polish thing, it's a funny story. It was actually Chris Barnes from 6 Feet Under that
Sure.
dubbed me Big Polish. I was tour managing Sworn Enemy back in like 2002, and we did a tour with them, and it was Chris Barnes that stuck that on me.
There you go.
Big Polish.
Well, let's bounce the ball back and forth. Let's do what we do here. How did you come up? Did you grow up in a musical household? How did music come into your life?
So, more funny story. So, my family had a wedding band. My brothers were bass player and guitar player. My sister-in-law was the singer. My uncle was the drummer. My stepfather played the keyboards. And their name was the Polish Cowboys.
Wow. That's awesome.
So there was always music in the house. There was always equipment in the house. My brother gave me my first guitar, which I started playing the guitar, but for some reason I just gravitated more to the drums, and I stuck with the drums, and I gave that same guitar that my brother gave me to Mike Bulldoze for his first guitar.
And Mike Bulldoze is your cousin, correct?
Yes, he's my cousin. Yep.
That's awesome. I never knew that there was like a family blood bond in Bulldoze.
It's marriage, but it's first marriage, so close enough. I've known Mike since he's 4 years old, since he actually came to America from Poland.
That's awesome. I never knew that about the band. That's really awesome. And wow, that must have been pretty incredible as a young person growing up, with constant music and constant joy, because there was a time when I was shooting a couple weddings many years ago, and like it's actually a really joyous occasion, and it's infectious. Weddings and are really, I enjoyed really like filming them. It's like it was always a joyous. The food was always great. Everybody was. It was really a euphoric atmosphere to be around, and it was kind of great, I thought.
A lot of happiness. Everybody's smiling. Nobody's walking around pissed off, throwing garbage cans at people.
And then you end up in a band like Bulldoze, which is like one of the most controversial, violent bands.
Well, I mean, another funny thing, my brothers were always
there has to be a balance in the universe.
Yeah, my brothers were always ripping on me, like, learn some of these songs, come play with us on the weekends, and I chose to go play hardcore shows instead of making $500 or whatever a weekend playing covers. It just wasn't fun. It wasn't fun for me.
What was the first music that spoke to you, that you felt like, this is like mine, this is speaking to me?
Well, metal, well, also hip hop. It started with hip hop. Sure. Run DMC, the Fat Boys. One holiday, Halloween, me and my local friends, we all got together, and I was one of the Fat Boys for Halloween. So it was 3 Fat Boys going to collect candy. It was hilarious.
That's funny. But
it was hip hop went into heavy metal. I found Metallica and Megadeth and things like that, and then that transferred into other music. Eventually following into hardcore.
What was the first like hardcore show that you saw?
It was Overkill, Typo Negative, Biohazard, and Life of Agony at the Ritz in 1991.
Wow. It's a good one.
Yeah. Mike Bulldoze was a big WSOU kid, always listening and always winning the tickets to go to all these different concerts. So we went to see Metallica because Mike won tickets. We went to see that Ritz show because Mike won the tickets.
Mike was on point.
yeah. That's all Mike did was just listen to music, study, do his thing with the gaming and stuff like that, and win tickets at that time. Yeah.
Right. So things are kind of rolling. You're seeing music. You're getting inspired. What was your first musical endeavor? Was that Retribution with Mike? And what was your first musical what was the first band you were in?
So for a time I was living with my brother in Bayonne, and I had some friends.
Bayonne.
And we had a band called Legacy back then. We did some high school battle of the bands things, and just not really played out crazy, but had 1 or 2 local shows here and there. Then eventually Mike called me because he got together with Zach and George, and they were looking for a drummer. So he was calling me and harassing me a few times to come hang out with them and jam with them. And I was, I had the driver's license, and I'm hanging out with 17 and 18-year-olds. What am I going to do hanging out with 14 and 15-year-olds? I'm the cool kid now. But I did go. I believe our first practice was in George's garage, his parents' garage in Maplewood. And we just kind of clicked. We all had fun, and we just all kept doing it. It was fun. And we were more thrash metal-y back then. Really didn't know much about hardcore at all. But eventually we wound up listening to more stuff. More stuff came out on the radio. We went to see Leeway and Mucky Pup and Obituary and Agnostic Front and different bands like that. And we're like, wow, this is a whole new vibe that we can kind of throw into what we were putting together. And that it kind of spiraled from there. But Retribution was the like official first band that I was like, we were really doing, like trying to play out more often. Yeah.
Was this the first Retribution show with New Jersey Bloodline at Studio One with Warzone?
I don't think that was the first.
Okay.
I don't think that was the first. I think there may have been earlier ones. Yeah, there were definitely earlier ones.
I laugh at this one. And the Seamen, formerly the Retards. It's like, listen, fellas, I think we should change the name of the band. We shouldn't be the Retards anymore. I think maybe we should be, I don't know, we're doing a lot of coke. Let's just be the Seamen.
I don't know exactly what. Maybe Jay could chime in. I recently saw Jay down in Manalapan at a show. Great guy. But I don't know exactly why they changed their name. But
yeah, there's Jason right there. That was me. Why'd you change your name, Jason? That's fucking funny, man. Yeah. One thing, I
think we did a couple shows as Retribution in '92.
Right.
And then we did it was called the Common Cause
Go ahead.
EP or the sampler or something like that John Stanley from Strength 691 put out that we recorded in his mom's basement. And Retribution did 2 songs on there, and I believe it was Hypocrite and Remember Who's Strong. Which those are 2 Bulldoze songs, but they were actually written before Bulldoze even existed.
Wow. I think this is a different show. This is at Studio One as well, with New Jersey legends Dog Eat Dog. I love that you have your Mike and Zach. You got your personal phone numbers on the flyer. Like, feel free to give us a call. Feel free to give us a call if you need info or you just want to talk about it. Give us a call.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why not? At that time, we didn't have emails or internets. That's all we had.
Yeah.
Other than going out to shows and rubbing elbows with people, that's all you had. Shit, call me anytime.
Yeah, and this place, we just mentioned it. Is and here's an ad from. Is this from the aquarium probably or something? But from Studio One. Tell us for those like on the other side of the world. Studio One, the Pipeline, like what was the circuit back then, and who were your contemporaries?
I mean, as you see all the different types of bands that were going through there. Studio One and the Pipeline were literally half a block from one another, or one block from one another, but it was just a different vibe. Studio One was more of a larger venue, I would say. Do you remember? It's probably like 500-600 people could fit in there, right?
Yeah, I saw some bangers in there, right? Biohazard, Dog Eat Dog, Life of Agony, Typo. They used to. I mean, that place was fucking packed, man. And
Pipeline was more like a Bond Street, almost a CBGB's vibe. It was small, so you got the best of both worlds, 1 block away from one another. But I mean, a lot of great stuff came through there. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that right? Count Ralph says, I saw Merciful Fate at Studio One. That's a good one.
Possibly. Yeah. I wasn't at that show.
Yeah. Well, I remember Studio One, man. Some of those Biohazard shows there in like 92 were hectic to say the least.
I wasn't sure if the floor wasn't going to give way, and the walls were literally sweating inside of a 600 cap venue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's that that show, that Halloween show that Jason's talking about. Yeah, right there. Retribution with Mucky Pup and the Retards at Studio One on Halloween night. It's interesting. Mucky Pup is a band that sort of has been lost in the shifting sands of time. They were kind of like one of the first bands of that area playing, I mean, dare I say, kind of hardcore-ish music that really got out there. I mean, they went to Europe, early on in the game. Mucky Pup really, the guys went on to form Dog Eat Dog. I mean, Mucky Pup, they brought Biohazard out on their first tour, I think, in Europe.
Yep.
Right? Mucky Pup.
I mean, I don't know if that's fact. You would know more than that on if that's factual. But yeah, I know they did some things together. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed Mucky Pup. I enjoyed all the earlier stuff a lot, and that was like one of the highlights. Like, holy shit, we're opening for Mucky Pup. What? This is great. Let's do this.
Yeah, and here's, I know things are about to change with Retribution, but here's another show. It's Warzone, Dark Side, Mutilation, New Jersey Bloodline, Retribution. I mean, it's a pretty banging show.
Yeah, we tried to get on whatever we can, especially back then. Pete Tertia made everybody try and sell tickets. So
right.
Him and what was the guy's name? Bill from Obsessions in Randolph. You remember that place?
Sure.
Obsessions in Randolph. Yeah. We used to have to sell tickets to play and shit like that. So as long as you sold tickets, you got to play. So we sold the shit out of those tickets. The best we could, wherever we could.
Yeah, that was sort of the that was the case. So
I was doing construction at the time, so I was making decent money. I'm not gonna lie. Some of the times I bought some of my own tickets.
Yeah. Well, what
just
we
to
do,
get us to play.
Yeah. What we do now is we just make the shows free. We just figure out another way to come up with the money. We that's what we do down at the Bowery Electric. We sort of change the pieces on the board and like, let's just make the place free and we'll we figured out a way to sort of, with sponsors and whatever, and basically it's just another angle. You make it free, the place is packed, people drink, the place does business. I mean, that's basically how it works, with what we do.
Anyone in the business know you make most of your money on the booze. Yeah,
right. This is a good question, Dylan. What was the best method for selling tickets back then? That's a good question.
Standing in the parking lot.
Just trying to sell them to your friends and like, it was
sell
tough,
them
man.
for $10 outside versus the $13 they charge at the door. Just don't get caught.
Yeah. That's
I mean, once the band, once your band becomes a little bit more popular, they kind of take that caveat away. But having friends that support is pretty much very, very big too. We as Retribution, we played our first show at our first show at Studio One or Obsessions. But the first show we played at Studio One, we befriended Uncle Mark, rest in peace, Reek, rest in peace, from New Jersey Bloodline, and like those guys pretty much like opened the door for us to meet the guys from Strength and that record, playing at John Stanley's basement and recording at John Stanley's house, like all that one show really opened the door for us to get the ball rolling, and those guys kind of took us under their wing, introduced us to a lot of people we didn't know, and then became friends with, and here we are today.
And somewhere along the line, you kind of connect with the Life of Agony guys and the Biohazard guys. You sort of, they come across your radar screen and you become friends with the Biohazard guys, right?
Sort of. So we were friends.
Because what I'm leading to is, I know that you personally, and I know that the future singer of Bulldoze, you guys met on the set of the Biohazard Punishment video that I produced and Paris Mayhew directed. So walk us through that.
So Zach and I went to, it was called the Fast Lane in Asbury Park, and Biohazard was playing a show there the day before the video shoot. I believe it was a Thursday, and the video shoot was on a Friday. And after the show, we hung around late, to rub elbows and talk to people and get to know people, the networking part of this business. And Billy came up to us and said, what are you guys doing tomorrow? And Zach was like, well, I got school. And he was like, well, we're shooting a video tomorrow in Brooklyn. You got more than welcome to come. And he just gave me the address of where to go. So Zach had to go to school. He wasn't able to get the day off, but I had the driver's license and called out sick. So I went to the video shoot. I knew nobody there. That was my first time in Brooklyn.
No shit.
I had no idea where the frig I was going. We didn't have GPS, so I had to get a map and figure it out. So I get there and I'm like standing around looking weird. Nobody knows me. And then Danny started setting up his drums. So I was like, hey, I'll help. Again, I don't know anybody, but the only way to get to know somebody is not by standing in the corner. You got to get out there, right? So I was like, hey, I'll help. So that's how I met Roy Boy, who was helping Danny set up the drums. And we were all just putting on, getting to know each other. And that's how that happened. I met Kevin there. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So go on.
So I met Kevin there.
And let me stop you there. So this is a clip from Biohazard Punishment video that we did. And of course, there is Kevin right there.
Yeah.
Next to Saab, right?
Yep.
So yeah, there you go. So go on.
Saab, Isaac, you got Tommy Conan, I think, was in there too.
Yeah, Saab, Isaac. There was this stuff we shot in Red Bank, the graffiti stuff, and Isaac, right? Who else? There was a lot.
I'm in there somewhere jumping around.
Yeah. Saab Minus
was there too. Yep.
God, this was now we're getting to this shot here where you turn up, right? This is coming across the bridge, right?
If yes, but
so
on the left side, I'm on the left side. If you're looking at your screen, I'm the last guy walking, holding onto the ropes that are holding the bridge up.
Wow.
Where to go?
Incredible. Hold on, let's see that.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably no. There's a different shot of me climbing up there.
Crazy. Here's Kevin. Here's Kevin again, right? Ah,
that's me right there. That's me.
There
right
you go. There you go. I never knew this.
Yeah.
Wow, there you are. Biohazard Punishment on the Brooklyn Bridge. That was a crazy moment in time. It was so much fun. If I remember correct,
I was like, "What?"
Yeah,
I'm watching. I'm in a Biohazard video. We watched them yesterday, and now I'm like hanging out with these guys. And what? This is crazy. It was fun.
Yeah,
I had to, hold my my excitement and emotion in. But yeah,
and then not only that, but the video just ends up just blowing up.
Yeah, there I am. Butthead. That's the greatest thing ever that could happen.
Hey, there I am with
you in the middle with the orange hat.
Yeah, wait, hold on. There's my. There I am with the orange hat on right there. It's actually I'm in between Kevin and Evan.
Yep.
Wow, that's pretty funny. I haven't seen this in a dog's age, man.
So yeah, I met Kevin at that Biohazard video shoot, and he invited me up to his house in Suffern, and we were hanging out for a while. Went to a couple different shows together, just as friends, And then I was telling him, I'm in a band, and we were looking for a singer, and if he knew anybody that wanted to sing, kind of shoot them our way. Mm-hmm. So he asked what type of music it was, and I gave him a demo of the stuff that we did in John's basement. He was like, "Well, I'll do it." I was like, "Wait, what?" I'll be the singer. So he came down to one of the rehearsals we had, and in Irvington. He came from Suffern, Irvington. We hung out. We played some songs together. He kind of threw in his ideas, his vibes, his feelings, and that's how Bulldoze was essentially born, because of Biohazard.
Incredible how a moment in time that's such a ripple, such a ripple. So basically, Bulldoze is retribution. Chris just moves from Kevin just steps in as the singer, and Chris just plays bass.
No, I play drums. I'm still drums.
No. Chris.
I'm talking about George.
George, excuse me.
Right.
I'm sorry. Right.
So
Buddha.
George originally played bass and sang.
Right. Yeah,
And
right.
he
I'm
was
sorry.
like, you know what, guys, I don't want to really sing that much anymore. I just want to focus on playing the bass.
Right.
So that's why, we put out the message to try and find a singer.
Got it.
For Retribution.
That makes sense. And so things start moving forward with Bulldoze, and one of the earliest flyers I have is this one here. This was in the New York Hardcore Chronicles archives. Pretty cool flyer. This one. Record release Bulldoze, Remember Who's Strong at CBGB's. Call, and look, Kev's number's on it. Call Kev 1. Yeah. So
that was that was actually after the State of the World address record release at Roseland. So Bulldoze had more shows. We played more shows before that actually happened.
This you're talking about this right here, this kind of legendary show. This one, boom.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is one of the very early Bulldoze sets per se?
That's the first time that Bulldoze played in front of a couple thousand people. Yeah.
Yeah.
The first time anybody in our band performed in front of that many people. Yeah, that was very monumental. As a matter of fact, I was telling you yesterday, I recently found a video of us performing that and some backstage nonsense that I'm going to be putting up on the Bulldoze YouTube channel once it gets edited and scrunched down and stuff like that. But I found there's a lot of videos between myself, Zach, Mike, and George. A lot of stuff that we have that we're going to be compiling, putting together, and releasing out there for the world to see.
That's awesome when this stuff sort of resurfaces, all these years later. I just transferred some stuff also, and I'm like, whoa, going deep on all these old tapes and finding stuff. Yeah, May, that lineup was incredible, right? That was a wild. Yeah, and you got to give it up for Biohazard, because they wanted to put everybody. They wanted to showcase a lot of the bands, and they wanted to empower a lot of the bands that were coming up. And all these bands had like 15, 20-minute sets. Bulldoze, 25 to Life, Madball, Marauder, Crown of Thorns.
It was a quick in and out, and kind of like how it is now, where you go to a festival or whatever, and the back line, everything's there. You're using the same drums. You're not changing anything. You're just you're bringing your breakables. And funny story, my double bass pedal broke halfway through the first song, so I played the rest of the set with just my left foot.
Ooh. RS70 asks, how did they decide to name Bulldoze?
So we were this is the way Zach kind of put it together. We were basically trying to write the hardest beats we could find, the hardest stuff that we could find, right? So we were trying to figure out how to verbalize that, putting it into a band name. One of the original ideas that came up, which I think Zach or someone came up with, was calling the band Mr. Softy.
That's a good one.
So originally, one of the band names that came up was Mr. Softy, and then Kevin he used to partake in extracurricular activities, which involved some dosing or not dosing. So one of the ways that he was talking about was calling the band Bulldoze, DOSE. And then it turned into Bulldoze somehow. It just seemed harder.
Yeah.
And it went from Bulldoze to Bulldoze. There you go. Mike just wrote. He said that. And with that, Bulldoze. But Kevin did Bulldoze the crowd? Absolutely.
Yeah, he was a hard.
It just fit. It fit.
Yeah, he was a hard dancer, and I actually do remember Kev sort of being under the influence of psychedelics a couple of times.
I mean, we used to go from wetlands to NASA and NASA to wetlands because they were next door to one another.
Yeah, right.
You know, I remember one time we were at the Limelight in the back room, and there was some fun stuff happening there, and I got a little too intoxicated. I had to get the hell out of there. It was crazy.
Yeah, there was. It
was fun, but crazy.
The Limelight's that kind of place. You know, I'm wondering. I have a feeling that this. Just looking at the bands on here, this is a flyer from the Bond Street Cafe, and it's sort of. It's on here as Bulldozer, New Jersey. I got a feeling this is a typo, right? With Dog Eat Dog and Blindside.
Yes,
probably. Yeah. You know, Bond Street was another interesting venue that is sort of not spoken about much, but it gave bands of this particular era, 93, 94, like for like 1 or 2 years, it was sort of the place to play and the scene where people gravitated to. Is that right?
Yeah. It was kind of like the Pipeline too, about the size as far as size goes. But yeah, it was a cool little spot off the beaten path, you know. And yeah, a lot of people went there.
Yeah, it was a cool.
It was small. It was intimate.
Yeah.
Right. It was small and intimate. What else did you have back then? We had the Grand. You had Bond Street. You had. I'm trying to think of smaller venues because the Grand was actually pretty big. CBGB's, but
here's a flyer from you.
Menu. Yeah, the Bond Street Cafe was it.
Yeah, there's the Grand, the Stanley Cup of Hardcore, Carnivore, Sheer Terror, Marauder, 25 to Life, Bulldoze, Victim Society, and Social Disorder at the Grand. I love that. Not to be confused with the Super Bowl of Hardcore. This is the Stanley Cup of Hardcore. You know. So
funny story with that. The guys from Carnivore wound up mistakenly taking Zach's guitar, and like Pete. Everybody got involved with like trying to find where Zach's guitar went, and it turned out it was in their van, or somewhere that they mistakenly took the guitar.
I don't know if this is the show, but I remember seeing Carnivore at the Grand. It might have been this show, and you know I've told the story on here about the, you know, they threw out all this, you know, goat carcass. They threw out a goat carcass, and it was like ripped apart by the crowd, and they started throwing all these goat carcass pieces all over the place, and you know, it was sort of, you had to sort of duck and watch it. There was like flying goat parts everywhere, and the girl right next to me, like out of the corner of my eye, I saw the goat torso just kind of go, and I'll never forget the sound the goat torso made as it hit this girl smack in the face.
Mike Bulldoze actually saved his current wife from one of those. It was a chicken or a piece of lamb.
Oh,
no, it wasn't a lamb.
No, he's right.
It wasn't. Mike Bulldoze saved his wife from being smacked in the face by a piece of lamb. That's actually one of the reasons why they got together and are still together, married with 2 boys today.
Yo,
Mike. Mike's awesome. Mike's got stories for days too.
You're up next, Mike. Mike says that's the show with the skinned goat. Yeah, that was it. It was crazy. And yeah, Gary, we're gonna ask Chris about some of the bike stuff when we get to the questions in a bit. So just kind of, so Bulldoze starts playing. You start playing shows. This is a flyer from CBGB's, right? A great. Did Kev make this flyer?
No, actually, if I'm not mistaken, it was Mark who played in GMK. He used to do a lot of that artwork. I could be wrong, but I think it was Mark that did that stuff.
Yeah.
What other band did Mark? Oh, Atlas Shrugged. Mark played in Atlas Shrugged.
Oh, right on.
Chris Weinblatt. I forget who else was in that band with them.
I've often wondered about that band.
They were from the upstate New York crew. Kevin's friends. But another funny story about that show, if I'm not mistaken, it is that show. Zach didn't get to play it. So Zach goes across the street to get a 40 or something to drink or whatever, and as he's coming across the street, he got hit by a fucking car. Him and Tommy Conan, I think, got hit by a car. Wow. So he never actually got to play the record release show. It was just the four of us. It was just me, Mike, George, and Kev. Wow. They were off to the hospital.
Oof. Another one, I guess you were back in the Grand playing the Super Bowl of hardcore not soon after. You know? Another incredible
Yeah,
bill.
that's where I met Matty Henderson for the first time. Yep.
That's a bill. Killing Time Warzone, yeah.
Matty and I've been close friends ever since then. Matty's awesome. Yep.
Yeah.
That was a good show.
Any memories of recording the I mean, there was the demo, right?
So fun story about the demo. I recorded that with a cast on my left foot. Wow. That broke my ankle at a Studio One show dancing for Strength 691. Their song Stereotype. I love that song. I jumped off the stage. My ankle went left. My body went right. Ouch.
Oof. Is this? Well, I guess this can't be the demo because it seems like Kevin might have passed already, but this is.
No, that was the demo. His brother passed away.
Oh, okay. Got it. Capiche.
So the demo was put in honor of his brother, Vincent. Yeah.
Capiche. And so handwritten on this is the demo.
That's either my handwriting or Zach's handwriting.
Wow.
Kevin had better actually handwriting. He also did the graffiti stuff, so he was good with that stuff.
Oh, this just in. Tommy coded, yes, we did get hit by a car. Can't believe Chris remembers that.
Miss you, Tommy. Hope I see you soon, brother. Hope you're well.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. Chris has a great memory, Tommy, you know. Doing the demo, getting out there, what was sort of the trajectory of Bulldoze early on? I know you did the demo and then the EP, Remember Who's Strong. Walk us through the recording and the process of those two recordings.
I mean, we did the demo. We put it out there. We were going around show to show, selling them, giving them away, whatever we needed to do to start getting that fan base rolling, right? And then, again, Kevin's popularity really brought a lot to the trajectory and how fast things grew. I believe he sent a bunch of those demo tapes across the pond to Europe, UK, all over the place. And we just sent them for free at that point.
Yeah, sure.
And then I forget what his name was. I was just talking with Danny Schuler from Biohazard about this guy from Hardway Records. Stefan from Hardway Records.
That's right.
He came to the U.S. to that State of the World Address show at
Roseland. And
that's where we kind of put the deal together to put out the Hardway release, the Remember Who's Strong EP.
Yeah.
We were doing interviews. There's this pizzeria on it was right next to not Generation Records. What was the other record store on
Bleecker Bob's.
Bleecker Bob's. You know the little pizzeria next to Bleecker Bob's, Ben's Pizza?
It's still there, bro.
I know. My wife and I were coming from a Brooklyn show. I was like, let's go get Ben's shitty pizza.
It's still there, and Mamoon's Falafel is still like 2 doors down from there.
Yep. So we used to go into the city with Kevin, and we would meet people, and they would interview us in that pizzeria for whatever fanzines and things like that we were trying to do, you know. That was always fun. One of the fun times I remember going, I think it was to I think Scott Koenig. Scott Koenig worked for Rush, right?
Yeah.
Rush Management.
Yeah.
I remember me and Kevin met in the city. We went to see Scott Koenig and his I think he was on Varick Street was the office.
Yeah, that's where that's
I think I saw like the guys from Run DMC walking by. I'm like, holy shit, really?
Yeah.
Is this really happening?
Yeah.
But so a lot of stuff happened from that. And then did you get the video I sent you that we did for Pleasurable Piercings?
I didn't know.
So we did this. So we did this video for a Jersey piercing place. This guy Bill, Wild Bill was his name, and it was essentially what it was a commercial for the piercing store that we did at this Pub 46 in Clifton or whatever it was, and Bill put it out all over, the local news, the local channels in whatever stations, whatever he was doing there. And we wound up getting a phone call from Sean Roberts, who was working for TVT Records at the time. I don't know if you're familiar with Sean or if you know him. They put out 9 Inch Nails, and they were doing stuff with Seven Dust. Yeah. So we were supposed to have like a big meeting with Sean and the TVT Records, and Kevin got a phone call like a week before we were supposed to meet them, and they were like, "Yeah, no, we're not interested anymore." Like, wow, that's crazy. Okay, but the trajectory still kept going on from there. We did CMJ. Does the city still do that? The CMJ festival?
No, that ended a long time ago.
College Music Journal or something like that.
Sure. So
we did that. Like I guess Scott was helping us or helping Kevin to get our band on a lot of cool things.
Sure. Yeah, so Danny Shula says shouting. I know Danny's probably working. What's up, Danny? Mike
he's busy selling Bentleys.
Mike says, Chris, mention how we should have been on that video game. Was it Grand Theft Auto?
You really bringing that up? I can't.
Was it just one that got away? Like,
Yeah, I think I want to keep that reserved for our own reasonings why it got away. But yes, we had an opportunity to have Bulldoze. I think Hatebreed was the same year that Hatebreed was on the Grand Theft Auto, and we had the opportunity to, but there were some financial indiscretion or inconsistencies that someone wasn't happy with, so we didn't take that deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we should have. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna leave that alone.
Hindsight's
Danny, call me, bro. Call me. We got to get this thing going.
So Bulldoze is out there. Listen, those shows in the early to mid 90s, it was a different time. It was a different era. Shows were extremely aggressive. Individuals were extremely aggressive. Shows were intense. A lot of young men. There was a lot of violence. Bulldoze sort of garners a reputation of being a pretty aggressive band. And I know at some point, you guys kind of played yourselves at a couple of venues and things. I guess, listen, Biohazard shows were crazy. It was just in the air. I mean, all these bands of the era, not all these bands, but a lot of bands of that era, there was a lot of aggression in the area at the shows, and Bulldoze was sort of at the forefront of that. Did that affect, you guys being able to be booked and sort of being able to move on as a band?
So, yes. Unfortunately, a lot of that aggression and a lot of that stuff that came along with that at that time, sadly, it preceded our reputation preceded us. So before people could actually even meet us or talk to us and sit down and try and conduct some sort of business arrangement to get us to play somewhere, the crowd wasn't comfortable with, or the venues weren't comfortable with what came or possibly came with it. So it got to the point that, we got banned pretty much from every New Jersey venue and a lot of local or regional, I should say, New York venues. So it became extremely difficult. And again, we started this band when we were kids. I was 17 years old. Mike was I was 17 and Mike was 14 when we wrote, or 15 when we wrote Beatdown.
Right. Wow.
So it's not like, we could, pick up. I was ready to quit my job. I dropped out of high school to follow music, but that's a whole nother story. I was ready to quit my job, but these guys were still in high school. So there's no way that we could go pick up and go on a tour for 3 months or something like that to get out of this area. We can only continue to play in our area and get it to grow. But if the venues weren't booking us, then it wasn't going to work. We actually had a tour that we were booked. We were supposed to do with MOD. Tim was in MOD at the time, and Tim and Kevin were really tight. And If I'm not mistaken, I forget the singer's name, the big guy from MOD.
Billy
Who's the singer from
Milano?
MOD?
Billy
Yeah,
Milano?
apparently Billy Milano put a kibosh to it because he didn't like Kevin or something like that, or they didn't know each other and blah blah blah. But we weren't able to just go tour anywhere, so we had to stay local. But nobody was booking us.
Sure. Did that grind the band down? I mean, I know you guys split up in '95, and Kev went and formed Terrorzone, and you guys went and formed Train of Thought. Did the constant violence sort of grind you guys down eventually?
I mean, we sat and we all sat down as a team and talked and knew that what we wanted to do was get this project going further and better. So certain people refrained from certain behaviors to help make that happen. But unfortunately, there was one night in upstate New York that we played, I believe it was Fury of 5, Bulldoze, and 25 to Life. I forget exactly where in upstate New York it was, but there were some people causing problems up there. And, we tried to squash it. We tried to have conversations with the people. And unfortunately, it didn't go the way they thought it was going to go because they kept, in today's day and age, you could kind of run your mouth and get away with it. You could go on the internet and type whatever the fuck you want and get away with it. Back then, there was no internet, and it was kind of either a put up or shut up situation. So that night, the people that were giving us a hard time were basically threatening us that we were supposed to be playing the world stage with Biohazard like a week or two after that. And they said, you know what? We'll see you at Biohazard. And we said, you know what? Fuck that. We'll see you now. And kind of shit happened. It went south. It didn't go well for them. But unfortunately, Kevin got in a lot of trouble for that day. And he did go to prison for a little while because of that situation. And we wanted to continue doing what we were doing. And we were also doing more musical stuff. Like if you listen to our next band, Train of Thought, George went back on vocals. We got amazing Larry Chiswick on bass. And the music took a different turn from the whole Bulldoze beatdown genre, which apparently we are dubbed with creating, which is pretty intense. It's insane. But so yeah, like Kev kept doing his thing. We kept doing our thing. And, Bulldoze was always kind of on the back burner because of the situation. But yeah, that's kind of how that all went down.
Yeah, that makes sense. And we'll circle back to Bulldoze. But, you mentioned the sort of the dare I say the accolades, or you guys have been cited as being a pioneer beatdown band, and the term beatdown literally coming from the 1996 Final Beatdown comp that was put out on Time Serve Records. And at the time when this was happening, were you guys cognizant of it, or were you guys just playing music? And
as Zach and Mike put it, even George, we just wanted to write the hardest shit we could write. We just wanted to see the kids just going crazy nonstop in the crowd. Whatever, that's why, if you look at it, there really isn't a musical sense to it. It's not like verse, chorus, verse, chorus, chorus, verse, chorus. It's just whatever felt good at the time.
Sure.
They riffed it out. Mike and Zach riffed it out. I wrote the drum beat. Puda laid the bass. George laid the bass. And that's what it was. And it was great.
Yeah.
Sure, everybody had their thoughts or differences, and we changed things around. But ultimately, they just wanted to write the hardest shit ever. And that's where we are today.
Yeah, and what else is incredible? Like Scott says, I love everything Bulldoze put out, but the 2 tracks on New York's Hardest are friggin' hard. What's incredible is the early Bulldoze catalog is not that extensive. It's like 10 studio tracks, right?
Yeah. Ultimately, that's all we did.
That's it.
Yeah. But again, don't forget that the first 3 songs, The Truth, Hypocrite,
right, and
Remember Who's Strong, were written before Bulldoze was even a band. This was before Kevin joined the band.
Yeah.
So it's just a progression. Everything you could literally look at all the bands, and you could see the progression going all the way into Agents of Man, which is a whole different, that's a whole different conversation, and it's great music, but it's not Bulldoze, right? It's just two different sides there.
Sure. But it's really incredible that this music that you guys created when you were young teenagers has gone on to just influence and sort of create a whole friggin' genre. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, everybody had their part. Puda laid down the bass lines. Zach and Mike wrote the riffs. I laid down the drum beats. I had the vehicle and the driver's license. So, everybody had their jobs to what they were doing. We all would go out to shows and flyer and try and sell tickets and give out demos, things like that. Remember VOD? Of course you remember VOD. Everybody knows VOD used to have a bus that came from Long Island all the way out to Newark, New Jersey to Studio One. A bus full of people. And they gave away demos. They didn't sell the demos. They just gave them. I have 3 of them.
Wow.
In a box. Eventually we became good friends with those guys too. But that you got to do what you got to do to get out there. Everybody has their piece that they have to put together to make it. You got to have the lettuce and the tomato and the salami and the cheese and the bread to make that sandwich, right? So everybody got a part. Kevin came in and he listened to some of the earlier stuff we did, and he was like, slow this down. Try it this way. So Kevin had a part. George had a part. Chris had a part. Mike had a part. Zach had a part. Obviously, the 2 riff masters are still hammering it out today. But yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
it's nice. It's nice to hear that, but it's also weird because we never thought that was going to happen.
Music is like that. It's incredible. Young music, music created by young people, eternally speaks to young people generationally as we go along. And it's like, and we're going to get to like Bulldoze having this incredible revival. And I look at the crowds and I've seen you guys play. It's a lot of young people. And that's really awesome. That's awesome because it's not Old Timers Day. It's like, it is a lot of young faces there. And that's great. It's not just a bunch of old people standing there with their arms crossed,
But those guys are there too. Those guys are there too. And some of them actually come out of retirement and hurt themselves and go, I shouldn't have done that.
It's a great mix. I mean, we enjoy that with Incendiary Device. It's a great. We're blessed with a great mix of people. There's young kids that love our stuff, and then there's some of the older people come out, and it's great. It's great like that. RS70 asks, who wrote those early lyrics for Bulldoze?
George.
Wow.
George is an amazing lyricist, and he finds a way to put his thoughts and emotions on paper. Probably the best I've ever seen anybody do, and a lot of Agents of Man stuff that hasn't been released. Same thing. It's just amazing stuff.
That's great.
But that's his thing. If I don't know why he didn't really want to sing anymore. I don't know what it was, but when Train of Thought came around, he really found himself again and started singing again, and it was just magnificent. Loved everything we did.
He has a really great voice.
Yeah.
This is early Train of Thought, correct?
Yeah, that was in Wildwood.
Wildwood.
Yeah, we used to take a trip down to Wildwood. Mike and Lisa would rent a spot, and we would all go down there for a couple days, I think it was, or a week. And we'd all just go hang out and do what friends do, have fun. That's what we're doing now. We're just having fun.
Well, that's what Wildwood's all about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wildwood.
It was a lot different back then, too, just like we said,
Yeah. And this is another Train of Thought shop, right?
Yes, that actually was in Washington, D.C., I think. We went and played a show with Circle of Violence, who Loki was the singer. You know Loki.
Yeah, of course.
Wow. And we played a show down there. And I think I saw Michelle was in here somewhere posting comments. We stayed at Michelle's house, and there's plenty of stories behind. There she is. There's plenty of stories behind that too. But yeah, that was down in DC, Circle of Violence, and I don't remember who else was there.
And Train of Thought early on. This is the Train of Thought demo.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, my home phone number on there.
Right.
Yeah, and there was a couple different covers that we did. I wound up spending some money and getting a color printer, which was not probably the best thing back then financially, but it was fun. And same thing, just get them out there.
Sure. And so Bulldoze sort of ends there. Train of Thought starts, and we're sort of heading towards Agents of Man. What was the Train of Thought trajectory?
So Train of Thought ended in like 2007. Or went on hiatus, permanent hiatus, somewhere around there, 2007 into 8. We were doing the music thing since 1991, right? So 1991 to 1997, was the Train of Thought time. Guys were leaving high school, going into college, didn't know what, or were in college, didn't know what we were doing. We weren't making money, bills are piling up, can't buy fucking sneakers or even socks because George was working at a pizzeria. Mike was working at the pizzeria. Like Zach was working at a Baskin Robbins, the 31 flavors. Like, people were doing whatever they had to do, but eventually it just got focus on, well, what are we doing with the rest of our lives? Because now we're going into college.
Yeah.
So when that kind of took place, it kind of just veered off into different sections. I was going through some stuff. I don't know. Larry was going through some stuff. So everybody was just kind of like going through, and it just, the vibe wasn't there. It was just, there was too much static and not enough, and it was negative static, not positive, So it kind of like took a break. And during that time is when Zach met or hooked up with, Zach was going around playing for a bunch of different bands. He played in One for a little while, filling in. He played for a couple other bands. And then he started jamming with the guys from Elements DEC, which essentially or partially was Raj on drums, John Doherty on bass, which is original Agents of Man. So Raj was original Agents of Man, John Doherty original Agents of Man, Ray Fonseca original Agents of Man,
wow.
And Zach. And they came up with a bunch of different tunes. And if I'm not mistaken, maybe Zach could correct me. He showed the music to George, and George was like, wow, this is amazing. I got lyrics for this. And I think nice. Headless in the Temple was one of their first tunes that they put out. And that was pretty much a smash hit. Like it just took off on radio. They wound up putting that record out.
But you weren't in the band yet, right?
No. I was just working construction, putting my life pieces back together, trying to figure things out, see where I wanted to go or where I didn't want to go.
Sure. Hey, but before
and then I'm sorry. I was saying so basically they put their record out with On the Rise Records, it was called. Chuck put their record out, and Chuck invested some money into getting them some proper promotion, and they were getting proper marketing, radio and marketing promotion. So they wound up climbing the charts with Headless and doing very, very well. And then at the end of 2001, I wound up having a knee surgery, and then I was out of work. And while I was out of work, I was like, well, guys, I'm at home. Why don't I just start helping you guys? Let's push this thing. So I'm home. So I'm doing emails, and they had a website. And, these guys are working and doing whatever. I wasn't working. So I learned how to do a little HTML to update their photos on the website and update their, shows and info. Like I tried to help the ball rolling. We had Seth Meyer going around at every show with a piece of paper and writing down emails. Like he literally walked up to you and someone else mid conversation and stopped and was like, I need your emails on here. Like, and so we had our whole street team going. Like it was a good thing, And so they started to push with Agents of Man, and Train of Thought and Bulldoze and all that just went to the side.
Sure.
Mike started Homicidal. Mm-hmm. Mike started Homicidal, so he had Homicidal, these guys had Agents of Man, and I opened a recording studio at the time out of my house in Irvington. So it was a lot of different stuff going on. I wasn't looking to be a drummer again.
Gotcha. Hey, let's take a sponsor break, and we'll come back and talk some Agents of Man, how eventually you kind of went from the master administrator, tour manager to actually playing drums in the band and playing on the Century Media Count Your Blessings album, which I think is friggin' great, right? And we'll go on and talk about the kind of rebirth and of Bulldoze and what's happening now, and we'll take it from there. We'll be back in a couple minutes. Okay, let's do some sponsorship. All right. It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. What's up? Good to see everybody. Lots of old faces. Our guest today is Chris Golas from Agents of Man, Train of Thought, and Bulldoze. Lots more to talk about. Let's do a little sponsor thing, and we'll get right back to it. Since 1992, Generation Records has been a mainstay of the New York metropolitan area music scene. Today, they offer a diverse selection of new and used rock, jazz, indie, hip-hop, punk, hardcore, metal, blues, soundtrack, and reggae LPs, as well as t-shirts, posters, and other merchandise. They buy used record collections and music memorabilia and will pay you top dollar for them. House calls made for large collections in the tri-state area. Call or email generationrecords@gmail.com and follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
Will that be cash or in debt?
Do you mean debit?
Yes. Sorry. Another eternally satisfied customer.
Yo, what's happening? I'm out here at one of our all-ages Sunday matinees on the Bowery. I hope that you are enjoying today's show. I just want to let you know that the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live needs your support. Please step up. There is a Patreon page that has a lot of unique program. Shows are announced there first. Lots of good stuff. There's a PayPal address right there on the screen if you want to make a contribution. There's also a super chat function. You could do that, but the bottom line is this show exists because of your support. We're going to be doing it for a long, long time. Thank you for all your support through the years. Back to the show.
Conditioned by indoctrination, conditioned by society. You're a victim of the digital age, a 21st century casualty. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone. Conditioned by misinformation, it's just the media telling us lies. Decipher fiction from the truth. Society's slow and tragic demise. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone. Everyone's got their fucking opinion.
And we're back. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. What's up? Hey, want to mention a couple upcoming shows. 1 week from today, Des Cadena, Black Flag Misfits, Astral Jets, and his bandmate from Astral Jets, Bob Lee, will be on the show, co-hosted by Joel Gustin. So this is going to be great. Looking forward to talking to Des. Week after that's the New Music Show, bringing in some people talking about what they're doing, including Christoph Jesus from Crazy in the Brains and Greg Reason from Death Before Dishonor. Sunday, May 11th, Freddie Madball's on the show, celebrating the release of True to the Game, The Roadrunner Years. Sunday, May 18th, ex-Hatebreed Chris Beatty will be on the show. Lots to talk about here. Excited about this one. A rare Side Trips episode with Michael Falzerano, the English Town Project, Hot Tuna, New Riders of the Purple Sage, the Airplane Family. I love doing these shows every now and then. Wednesday, June 4th, Don Capri will be on the show. He's the film director celebrating the release of Director's Cut. He will be on along with actor Louis Lombardi. You may have seen him on The Sopranos, 24, and Suicide Kings. Just a reminder to please support the show on Patreon. That's how we are able to do this. It doesn't just magically happen. It's because of your support. You know that. That said, want to mention also, please follow the show on Instagram. Pick up your phone at Stone Films NYC. Please, if you're watching a rerun right now, it's not live, please subscribe to the Stone Films NYC YouTube channel. This is very important. Also get off your ass, lean to your computer, your phone, and give the show a thumbs up or a like. Get them analytics on. I used to not even mention this stuff, but I'm told, Drew, what happened to the Springer show? The Springer show happened. What do you mean? We did a show with Springer. What does that mean? We had Springer on the show. Yeah, that's right. Drew says, pick up your phone, then sings about putting down your phone. It's okay to pick up your phone right now. I know it's kind of a crazy world, right? It's like, put down the phone, join the human race, but watch my show. Listen, hypocrisy is everywhere, my friend. How did you miss it? It's on John. It's on YouTube, the Springer Show, and the Al Baril Memorial that we just did. So, yeah. So that's that. There's also a super chat function, that we have. If you have a question for our guest, do the super chat function, and it comes in color, and I can't miss it. So there you go. That said, let's bring our guest back on, Chris from Bulldoze. Hey, man. Oh. Hey.
Yep, I'm here.
All right, good. In doing my homework, one of the great.
My son Dominic's here.
Hey, Dom.
Dominic, everyone.
What's up, Dom? How you doing?
He's the next musician. He's the next. Plays the piano, the trumpet. He was learning how to play the drums.
Have you seen your dad? Have you seen your dad's band Bulldoze play?
Yeah.
Pretty crazy, huh?
We played that FYA fest in Tampa, Florida. I got him crowd surfing.
Oh, I was there for
Dominic.
I was there for that. Yeah, here's a picture from that. I was at that show. I was like in Florida screening one of my films, and we were like, wait a second. These guys are playing right over here, right? This is that room. This is from that. This is it.
No, that's Kenilworth.
Oh, I just recognized the room with
Look
the
at
lights
Ancient right there in the middle, screaming his head off.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, son. See you later.
All right, Dom.
I just texted my wife. I was like, I'm thirsty. So
please. I really love Count Your Blessings on Century Media. One of the joys of doing this show is, having to do my homework and a lot of times revisit, but sometimes visit for the first time a band's catalog. And I must say, the Bulldoze stuff sounded really good. It's been a long time since I've heard like the demo, and I guess it's no accident that it's aged well and people love it, because it sounds really good. But let me
ask you. Let me interrupt you. Let me ask you your opinion, your professional opinion. I would like to re-record those songs. We're better musicians, better equipment, just to see what kind of love they would get or feel the power they would get. What's your opinion on re-recording old songs?
That's a tough one. A lot of bands have done it, right? Suicidal Tendencies did it with their first record, right? They went and re-recorded, and a lot of bands have done that.
Some go well, some don't. I get it.
Some go well, some well, and a lot of bands do it for different reasons. Sometimes, it's because of like the early record label that put it out ripped us off, and we never saw a penny, or a publishing thing. I guess as a musician, right? You just have to go where your heart is, and not everybody's going to love it, but there's some that will really enjoy it, a sort of contemporary take on it. Do you may I ask, do you mean Count Your Blessings or Bulldoze?
Bulldoze.
Bulldoze.
Just yeah. That stuff that mind blown.
You're breaking up. I don't know. I kind of lost you there.
I think I lost you.
Yeah. You see. All right. Maybe it's time for another sponsor break. Let's see if he comes back. He will, I'm sure. Yeah, he'll be back. Is that right? Twisted Sister and Exodus both re-recorded albums, and people find it blasphemous. Yeah, it happens, man. Hey,
sorry, I lost you there.
Just come back if it happens again. Count Ralpha says Twisted Sister and Exodus both re-recorded albums, and people find it blasphemous.
Well,
Frank says, "Go for it, Chris. Do it yourselves." Jimmy Ferrari says those suicidal re-recordings are incredible.
I've had people say how much they hate the suicidal re-recordings.
Right. Josh Hardcore Trading Cards says a lot of people hate re-recordings, but I like it. No matter what the original versions are still out there. So, I think it's the kind of thing that, you do it. Some people are going to like it. Some people aren't. But I mean, it's just wild when you do something, a demo that you guys did in 1993, it's wild. Have you seen your Hardcore Trading Card? Have you seen that?
I was talking about doing that, but I didn't know it was put out yet. No.
There it is. There it is.
Awesome.
Yeah. That's the front. And the back, I really, Josh does his homework.
This is the first time I'm seeing it.
Yeah, Josh does his homework.
Josh just hit me up about it like a week ago, and I told him, I'm actually in school right now for to be a marine maritime captain, so I could pilot folks out there. Hire me to drive you around the world. But yeah, I was telling him, I'm like, dude, I'm really inundated with this marine captain stuff. I'll get back to you with the info, but okay, yeah, I mean, it's all there.
It's really this helped. Like, he sent this to me today, and I'm like, I didn't know that. Chris began playing drums at 9 years old and has been behind the kit for many bands, but he also worked as a manager, tour manager, and tech for Unearth, Necro, Sworn Enemy, and many others. He owned a recording studio and produced the 2004 demo for the New Jersey hardcore band Homicidal and many other bands.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah. He really does a great job with it. You mentioned the recording studio. I'm assuming that was a passion for many years, running a recording studio. That's a tough gig. Tell us about it.
It was more, I initially wanted to do it just to get Agents of Man pumping out demos, and just to get, again, I was very into that band and I wanted it to be as successful as possible, whether I was in it or not. And I invested the money and the time to try and help get the guys going. If I was able to buy something to help make it easier for them to focus more on what they are really good at putting out their music, then that's what I wanted to do. But that turned into a little business. So yeah, I was getting all the local kids coming in with their bands, local hip hop artists coming in that wanted to write, get lyrics over some beats that they did on their drum machine. And it was fun. It was fun for a while. But then I had other things going on, which prevented me from continuing to do that. And I went on, like you saw it, I wound up leaving Agents. I met my wife, my beautiful wife, Michelle. I went on tour with Unearth as Mike's drum tech. So it just went into a different direction. And I actually wound up giving all my stuff to my nephew, Adam. He owns Timber Studios in Bayonne, New Jersey.
Wow.
He's got two beautiful recording studios he set up in Bayonne. So all you guys out there, sorry, Drew, I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, but Timber Studios, timberstudiosnj.com. Go check him out. He does a great job. He's mixed and mastered a bunch of stuff for bands like Koyo, I forgot what. There's a lot. There's a lot on there that I don't remember. But yeah.
Of course you can, man. That's what this show's all about, man. You know, of course. I just want to touch on just once again before we get off the Agents of Man thing. That friggin' record sounds really, really great. That you play on Count Your Blessings, was that the one record that Agents of Man did for Century Media?
Yes.
Fucking record sounds really, really good. Did it
Thank
just
you, man.
did it just not hit its mark? I mean, I listened to that a couple of times. It's a damn good record, man.
That was Mike, engineered by Mike Borelli over at Purple Light Studios in Brooklyn.
Sure.
Kenny Shock from Candiria was at the studio a lot, and he was, throwing us ideas and inputs, and he played keyboards on I forget the name of the song right now, but a lot of guys came out and listened to it. But Mike, when he was in business and when Mike was doing his thing, he did a really great job. He put a lot of great stuff out of that studio. So as far as Century Media goes, well, we met me and Mike the Gook, because Mike the Gook was in the band at the time. He played bass. John Doherty had to leave to put business and his life together, right? For money. Ultimately, it was about money. How far you could go, right?
Sure.
So me and Mike and we met with Robert
Kampf.
Yep. We met in New York City, and he said, he wanted to take Century Media into a different direction. So he wanted music like this on his label. So he was like, let's go for it, So we sat down with the rest of the guys and let's go for it. We heard all this bad rap about Century Media not doing what they're supposed to do. But long story short, Agents of Man, which is a what would you consider Killswitch Engage? What genre of music is Killswitch Engage? Is that post-hardcore metal-ish? Because that was also the other problem. What do you label Agents of Man? We're like, well, we don't know, but this is the stuff we do.
Yeah.
So when it came to Century Media actually PRing us and getting us out there, they had a genre of metal and death metal and what they had and what they were great at. And then they threw Agents of Man in that mix. And I mean, we were getting reviewers that would post that they wanted our van to flip over off of a cliff and burn in hell forever because this record was released on Century Media Records. So we weren't getting what we needed at that time from them. They're probably a great record label. I'm not going to talk on Century Media because the people that were there at the time were very nice. They put us on the Hell on Earth tour out in Europe with As I Lay Dying, Evergreen Terrace, Heaven Shall Burn, Niera, and the Day. So it was great. Like they did what they were, but there was just a piece of it missing where I think they dropped the ball. And I'm not sure if that's when Rob decided I don't want to do this anymore. And I don't know what year he left or sold the business, but we weren't getting the proper PR, I believe, from my professional experience that record needed. You send that record to somebody that only listens to Slayer and Death Angel and Decapitated Cow Icon. I don't know. They're not going to like it, right? Yeah. So that's kind of where it kind of fell. And in my
the fans of Goat Penis is not gonna really wrap their head around Agents of Man, and it is a great record. The vocals are exceptional. It's a damn production wise. It's a damn.
We definitely put our heart and soul into it, Drew. Yeah. Really put our heart and soul into it. It just, unfortunately, the fact that it didn't go in the direction we thought it was going to go or get the support that we needed. We couldn't find management. None of us really knew how to get management, but there was nobody beating on our doors and saying, hey, you guys need a manager. Let us help you with this. We couldn't get a booking agent. Didn't really know any booking agents. I reached out to Tim Bohr, who we were friends with, through Kevin and things like that, but nothing ever really panned out in the direction that we wanted it to go. So I wound up getting really frustrated at the time with the things that were going on, and I wound up removing myself, and I wished them the best. And we still lived in the same house together. The demo songs that were recorded after I left the band were still recorded in my studio. I mean, we're still best of friends today. So it's not it's just at the time, you you're going through different things in life and different feelings and emotions, and sometimes you need to get away from it all. The business aspect of music at that time burnt me the fuck out. I wanted nothing to do with it.
Oh, you too. But now Ray from Agents of Man is in Bulldoze, right?
He is playing bass with us in Bulldoze. Yes.
Yeah. And he's in the chat room.
Basically, we're keeping it in the family, you know?
Yeah. That's great.
Unfortunately, George has 2 young boys at home, so he can't always go on tour or go play faraway shows because he's got to be there for his kids. So we have Mick G, Brian McGovern from Homicidal, fill in on vocals. We just, again, nobody knew that this was going to happen, right? We thought we were going to play 2 or 3 shows, and that's it. We also didn't know that Kevin was going to die, after we booked the shows. The shows were booked. We had 3 shows booked with Kevin, and unfortunately, he passed away. But nobody knew that this was going to and he, am I?
You're kind of sign off and sign back on. We don't get flustered about anything here. Sign off and sign back on. That usually does it. But yeah, really interesting. Really interesting. Just as we're, just as we're getting to it. But hey, Phil Irate, what's up, brother? Hey.
All right.
That works when you start like getting choppy. I'll kick you off and you just sign back on. Phil Irate says that Agents of Man record is still on my playlist. So it's a great record, man.
Phil is such an awesome guy. I hope you're healing up well, brother.
You know what?
Accident, hurt himself.
I want to say just real quick while we're here, and Phil just reminded me of this. I just want to mention that tomorrow in the Bronx, at the Museum of Bronx History, is Uptown Rumble, Heavy Music in the Bronx. It's an opening of a display that was curated by Stephen Payne, Chucky Brown, and J.O. Estrella. I'm going to be there with my wife. A lot of other people are going to be there. The New York Hardcore Chronicles is one of the partners in this thing. If you're in the area, I know Phil's going to be there, and a lot of the Bronx guys, Billy Club Sandwich and Zaguri. So if you are around, come through tomorrow. It is at the Bronx Museum, at the Museum of Bronx History, and that is what's happening tomorrow. Just wanted to shout that out. So we were talking about sort of Kevin passing, but before those shows were booked, you guys every now and then did a couple, did Bulldoze shows, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And what did that look like? Just every couple years, if the offer was, right, and just kind of,
and
is that what
everyone was available to do it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes people weren't available. There's some shows on the internet where I'm not playing drums, Demi's playing drums, and Zach's not playing guitar. It's Seth Meyer playing guitar. I mean, just want to have fun and have it go out there. It's not about, like I was saying earlier, there's keyboard people out there that like to talk smack and with regards to who's making what and who's doing what. And we're not making any money doing this. It's just a whole lot of fun. So, yeah. And that's what we're just going to continue doing as long as we can.
So basically, you're touching on sort of like the rebirth and much deserved. I mean, it's a nice story that Bulldoze in 2025 is on the board to play shows like this, which is coming up June 6th. It's just really great, and I've seen you guys play, and I'm happy for you guys that you guys can go out there and enjoy and get some accolades. It's really great.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. We're actually pretty busy. We're pretty busy the rest of this year doing some Weekend Warrior stuff. We're going to be going down to Texas in November. We're going overseas again Can't really talk about that yet, but we're going to be going overseas again in September. There's some more shows that are going to be announced soon once they're all put together. But yeah, we have a lot of stuff going on, which is fun.
Here's another one. The Overcome Fest 3. I mean, you guys are killing it. You're like in direct support on these incredible shows, man. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Going to get to see a lot of old friends down there.
Yeah. Did it when you had a couple shows booked with Kev and he passed, and you kind of like, you kind of like worked through them, and did you kind of go, wow, that was kind of great. Let's keep, there's offers. Let's keep doing it. We're enjoying it. Like, what did that look like?
So essentially, it's exactly what you said. When we found out that Kevin passed away, and the dust settled behind, after he passed away, we reached out to the promoters and said, hey, sorry that this happened, and we apologize, but we won't be able to do the shows. And they're like, well, why not? Like, get George to sing. People want to see you. So since the offers were not removed from the table, we were like, all right, well, let's go back to the roots. It was George singing, and let's get Ray to fill in on, play bass with us. Let's just have fun doing this. So that turned into the 3 that we originally had booked. We fulfilled those responsibilities, and the phone calls just kept coming. So we were like, all right, let's have fun with it.
Yeah.
Here comes a call for Europe. Here comes a call for Texas. Here comes a call for Cali. You're like, all right, well, as long as the costs are covered and we can make this happen, let's go. Let's do it. And everybody was like, fuck it, let's do it. We're not spring chickens. We ain't getting no younger here, so let's have as much fun as we can.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Did I see the first show after Kev passed in Tampa?
First show after Kevin passed would have been in Reading, Pennsylvania.
Oh, you're right. That was right. And then I think the second one was the one I saw.
The one in FYA was the second one, and then the third one was with I believe Trapped Under Ice in Brooklyn. All phenomenal shows. You find that you look at those videos. I mean, the kids are going nuts. It was great.
Yeah. Is there anything like you could implore about Kev that people might not know, or just as a bandmate or as a performer, or just looking back in a bright light? Is there any memory or something that could glean some perspective on maybe the good times you had with him?
Imagine the bully big brother. He loves you to death, but he keeps giving you noogies every time he sees you. It's like, fuck, Like, you walk into Kevin's house and like, what's up, kid? He gets up to get something to drink and punches you in the chest. Like, but it's not like, he's trying to knock you out. It's just that's just how he was. It's the best way I can describe, the best analogy is Kevin had a huge heart. If he loved you, if he cared for you, if he had respect for you, you knew it. And he would go above and beyond to make sure that you were well and taken care of, right? But if he didn't like you, you also knew that very distinctly. And he was the big brother, and he and I went more at it because I was also older.
Right.
And I kind of wouldn't let him bully us around too much or try to, but he was the big brother that would kind of, again, give you the noogie every time he saw you, but he would make sure you're safe and taken care of. He was big heart, great guy. Wish he was here.
Yeah. That said, let me take a quick sponsor break, and we'll come back and we'll take some questions from around the world. Okay.
Cool.
All right. That's right. Chris Golas from Bulldoze. We're going deep. Post your questions. Go deep, get weird. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. Some great old friends out there, May and Sean Dixon and Phil Irate, and makes me happy. Makes me happy doing what I do and seeing some old friends show up. We are sponsored by blah, 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 and Mad Vintage. Mad Vintage buys, sells, and collects band shirts, primarily hardcore. The DIY operation was started and is operated by a hardcore kid who just loves collecting and eventually got into vintage clothing, specifically the realm of vintage band shirts. They are always looking to buy out collections to either keep, sell, or trade. New shirts added daily at www.madvintage.com and posted on Instagram. Dig deep into that closet of crap and reach out to them. Help me help you, Mad Vintage. Last but not least, the Texas Silver Rush. They're a jewelry design firm and boutique store located in the birthplace of the Texas country music scene in Fredericksburg, Texas. They specialize in working with musicians in all music genres to design and create unique one-off pieces, as well as to style them for stage, album covers, promo photos, and social media exposure. Their client list includes Rock and Roll Hall of Famers Greg Rollet, Ringo Starr, and of course, Agnostic Front. Information on online sales are being taken at their Facebook and Instagram pages, and of course, www.texassilverrush.com. Hey, want to mention some upcoming events. Just mentioned this one. This is tomorrow. I will be there. A lot of the Bronx guys will be there. Uptown Rumble, heavy music in the Bronx at the Museum of Bronx History starts tomorrow. Opening is tomorrow from 6 to 8. There's going to be food. There's going to be people. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hey, yo, Rebelmatic record release show signing and performance at Generation Records Saturday, May 3rd. Come on down. Rampage Fest 7 free all ages Sunday matinee on the Bowery Sunday, May 4th. It's Mike Pooch from Sworn Enemy and Heg's birthday. Like I said, it's free all ages. Sworn Enemy, Silence Equals Death, Brass Knuckle Brigade, Redwoods, and Life of Deceit, formerly Gunk, DJ SDK Sound System. Yo, it's coming up. Free for all patrons. Saturday, May 10th, it is Drew Stone's New York City Cinematic and Music Tour. If you are a patron, this is free for you. If it's free, it's for me. Reach out. Come on out with us. There's a whole bunch of us going out. It's going to be a great day. And we are ending up. The tour is ending at Generation Records, where I am moderating the Gregory Rudolph Smith London 77 Lost Archive book signing and Q&A. Big event. The books will be there for sale. This is going to be awesome. Walking tour and then Greg Smith book event. Annual Memorial Day weekend Tompkins Square Park show. Rebelmatic, non-residents, Butterbrain, End of Hope, Sonic Bomb. But I will not be there because Incendiary Device is playing Punk Rock Bowling that same day. 7 Seconds, Negative Approach, Effigy, Stalag 13, and Incendiary Device. 2 days later, I am hosting a tour at the Punk Rock Museum. We're going to be screening some excerpts of the New York Hardcore Chronicles film. If you are in Las Vegas that weekend for Punk Rock Bowling, come take the tour with me and a couple of friends. It's going to be fun. Last but not least, I am getting married on stage at the Bowery Electric Sunday matinee, all ages free, Sunday, June 1st. Scott Helen, Guitar Mia 1, and we're doing the My War thing again with a whole bunch of special guests coming up. This is going to be fantastic. Come on down, be a part of our wedding bash. It's going to be great. That said, post your questions for our guest. If you do a super chat for a couple bucks, it comes through in color, and I can't miss it. You go to the front of the line. I think I covered everything. Let's bring Chris back on. Hey, man.
Hey, speaking of Silence Equals Death.
Yeah, there you go.
Who's that? My boy Frankie's the new drummer. The shirt's
That's
mint,
right.
baby. It's mint.
Yeah,
It's
Frankie,
mint.
Yo, it's mint. Frankie's good with them. I got to say that, like, I talked to Scott, and he was bummed, and he was going to fold the band, and then he got Frankie, and he got this other guitar player, and you know, we just saw them, right? You, me, and your cousin Mike. We just saw them. We played also at the VFW Hall, right? The American Legion Hall, and they were friggin' great.
Very good. Frankie's a great drummer. I was impressed by his feet. I told him that. I was like, I wish I could play double bass like you.
Sometimes,
and your band was magnificent too. You did great performance. Great way of bringing the crowd in, as usual. Yeah. That's a Drew Stone thing. It was good.
Yeah. I'm playing. Come inside. Yeah, Frankie. Way to go. Okay, Gary, here
There he
we
is.
go. You asked for it, you got it. Gary asks, music and motorcycles are my two passions in life. I'm dying for a quick rundown on what's behind Chris.
So I own and operate a small little business called Gas Custom Cycles, and it stands for Golas and Sons Custom Cycles for my boys. I do repairs, maintenance, preferably customizations, restorations, one-off builds, things like that. I'm not open to the public. You need to contact me, and we could work things out and make things happen. I don't have a retail spot. I tried finding spots, but it's just too dumb expensive to rent anything these days. So keeping it small, keeping it simple. Anybody wants custom work, things like that done, that's what I do to make a living now.
What are you working on? What's behind you?
This to my left is a 2006 Big Bear Chopper, Pro Street Sled 300. And this is a ultra classic, a customized ultra classic that I'm doing some maintenance work on and eventually flipping and posting for sale to help my horrible hobby of Bulldoze.
I got to ask you, you sent me some pictures. You were kind enough to send me some pictures, and this was one of them. And I'm a little confused what exactly is going on here.
I don't even remember what I sent you, man. I was falling asleep.
Here.
Oh,
what's going on here?
I sold the house the Irvington house where Bulldoze, Train of Thought, and Agents of Man lived and breathed in, and that was in the garage. And that's actually a bike that George bought to get to and from work that somehow wound up left behind. But the reason why I sent it to you because of the Bulldoze road case.
Right.
So, I mean, we were trying, I bought the road cases to protect the brand new drums, and we were planning on doing bigger things. It just never happened.
Gotcha. So it was sent to me for the case, not the bike per se.
Yes, I didn't have one of just the case, and it's still buried in a trailer in my yard.
Zip Ahead Steve, a great supporter of this show from the beginning. Thanks, Steve. Says something interesting. He says, we got to get Mr. Stone on a Harley. And I will say this. I had a Harley.
She's for sale. She's going to be for sale. Look at that thing.
This is what a beaut. This is my take, right? I live in the city, right? And I live in Manhattan. I live in the city. It's a very, very dangerous place to ride a motorcycle. And I had a Harley years ago, and I was riding, and this is how this played out. I had a dream the night before that I got into an accident on my Harley and I lost my leg. And the next day I was out on my Harley and I was in Astoria, Queens, and I was by the Triborough Bridge, and I was riding down, and the lights were changing, and the light changed, and a cab ran the light. And it was just one of those, when you're going towards the light and you're going, oh no, please, no, really? And he went right through the light, and he came right in front of me, and I put the bike down, right? I slid it out, I hit the back brake, I slid it around, and I was fingering the brake, and the bike went down, and I just kept thinking, watch the leg, protect the leg. It all, if anybody out there's been, a lot of times these happen, it feels like you're in slow motion. You know what I mean? It's like a dream. It's like slow motion. And I was just thinking, watch the leg. And I slid the bike and then let go of the brake, and the bike went over and flipped over. And I hit the side of the cab, and the bike landed on top of me, and the cab took off, and the bike was leaking gas on me, and I hurt my hand. That's the worst of the injury was my hand. And after that, I sort of realized that having a Harley in New York City is really not the best way to get around. And I had to give it up after that, Yeah,
you have to be you actually have to be somewhat reckless.
Yeah.
To be safe while riding a motorcycle in New York. I worked security at Irving Plaza. I worked security at at Gramercy Theater. I opened Gramercy Theater. Me and geez, his name escapes my mind right now. But I used to drive there sometimes in the winter when it would snow. But you have to be wild. But you know what? That's just life. You know, you want to go skiing, you might hit a tree. You want to ride a bike, you might fall down. You want to play in a band, you might get in a tin can in the sky, and it might not get to where you're supposed to get to. You know, it's part of it.
I had some good times. You know, my brother, we were young. My brother my brother had a motorcycle in the city, and he had a what do you call it? A dirt bike that you could ride
Enduro.
An Enduro. He had an Enduro. My brother fucking scooting around New York City on an Enduro. And Steve says, believe me, I used to ride to the matinees at CBGB's when I was young and crazy. But I would never ride my motorcycle in New York ever again, so I understand. So that's kind of like where it's at for me. You know, if I lived, you know, in a place where there was some open roads and I could enjoy it, absolutely going to buy another motorcycle.
Yeah, I'm like an hour outside of the city at this point. So even driving in the city, I took my aunts to a Yankees game. I was just like not as comfortable as I used to be 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Sure. Joseph K asks, did Bulldoze play Castle Heights? If yes, any memories?
I don't believe so.
Right.
I don't believe so. I could be wrong. I don't believe so. I don't think Castle Heights was around during Bulldoze. I think Castle Heights was around during Train of Thought, like Sworn Enemy days. Sworn Enemy started, I think, 96, 97-ish.
Yeah.
Bulldoze was done at 95. Yeah. Going into 96, somewhere around there. So, no, I don't believe so.
I mean, Phil Irate would know he's one of the authorities on Castle Heights. But and Gary Muttley from Brass Knuckle Brigade. But I do think Castle Heights really came into its own in 90, maybe 96, start in 95, 96. Question from Josh: did Chris pass the Marine test he had the other day?
I did. I'm going to be a certified Marine captain with the United States Coast Guard. I'll be able to pilot your vessels and take you around Manhattan and sightseeing and things like that. Yes, awesome. I did. Thanks for remembering that, Josh.
do you have I mean, doing that and taking do you have a lot of experience on the water? I assume that you have a love for boating.
So I've had a boat since 98. About 98, 97. I bought a boat 98, somewhere around there after Train of Thought. So I always had a infatuation or passion to be on the water. My father passed away at Sandy Hook Bay. He went out fishing one night back in 1977. Wow. I was just 3 years old. He went out fishing and unfortunately fell in and didn't come back. Wow. So I don't know what it is. Maybe that has something to do with it, but I love being out there. I love getting on my boat. I go out into the bay and I'll anchor up, or I'll go into the ocean and just hang out. And the boat I have is fairly decent size. So, bring my friends. We took Mick G for his 50th birthday down to the Highlands, and we took him out to dinner, and we put all our wives and Zach, George, and everybody got on the boat. Lisa didn't come. I think she hurt her ankle at the time. And we all took a nice cruise, sunset. I'll send you some pictures. I love being out there. So I like to do something that puts me out there. I love doing this, and I love doing my construction, and I love doing everything I'm doing. But I also wanted to do something that will put me out there a little bit more. So that's why I took it.
That's very cool. Cousin Mike mentions that Bulldoze never played Poland. And you've always wanted to, since most of us are Poles. That sounds to me like something we have to do that
next year. What about Incendiary Device Bulldoze? Let's go next year. And we'll bring Silence Equals Death with us next year. Yeah. This year we're full. Everybody still has legitimate careers. They can't just pick up and go. I have my thing going on. I'm pretty much entrepreneur, self-employed, doing my thing. So I could pretty much say I can leave or I can't. If I have responsibilities I have to take care of, then I will, right?
Sure.
But for the most part, I'll tell a customer, listen, it's going to be 2 or 3 more weeks because I'm not going to be around. But this year we're pretty full with stuff that we have going on. Again, there's going to be stuff coming out that I can't talk about just yet. But there is stuff for us performing in various different places on the globe. But next year I would like to hit more of that because we did UK this year also, which was phenomenal. And it was all small venues, so very intimate, hot, CBGB style shows. But I would like to definitely go out to Poland and other places next year. I haven't seen my family out in Poland since 30 years ago. So I definitely like to get out there.
Wow.
I don't really have anybody here. I have 2 older brothers. One lives in Rahway, one lives in Bayonne. And, my mom passed away 2019. Other than the current family I've built with my wife, I don't have nothing holding me here. I'm ready to go. Let's go.
I want to be a part of it. I too am from Polish descent. So I'd love to be able to be a part of it. Are you still playing Vic Firth?
Yes, I have. I'm endorsed with Vic Firth sticks. I have Evans for drum heads. I so desperately want Sabian cymbals to endorse me. Sabian reps out there, anybody? I've been playing Sabian my entire life, and I absolutely love that cymbal. Just never got around to. I don't know if I'm busy enough for them to want to entertain helping me.
Sure.
But when during Agents of Man, I was able to procure the sponsorship and the help, which I'm very grateful for. But I just need some cymbals, guys. Any reps out there for cymbals? Cymbals?
You hear that? You hear that, Danny Schuler? Hook him up.
That would be nice.
I like what Gajewski says. Mike, I love that at almost every show I watch on YouTube, I see you front and center checking out bands. And you still have a love for you got to get Mike. You got to get Mike on the horn, Drew. You got to get him on here. He goes to every show. There's me and Vinny. Yep. That was after the crucial barbecue that we had at the New York Hardcore Tattoos in the backyard. Yeah, there's a bar around the corner from there that had a bull riding thing, and we all went went bull riding afterwards. But you and Mike, you guys still love. You guys are still watching bands and still doing it, man.
I don't get out as often as I want. I have these responsibilities that I need to do. My son Dominic just took up baseball, so I got to make sure he gets to practice. But Mike also is Mike recently retired from Verizon. Dare I call it a retirement? But he's gone, so he's enjoying his life. He also plays in a band Hold My Own. You got Greg from Mongoloids on vocals. A bunch of guys from Chicago and his brother, bass and guitar, and Mike joined as the second guitarist for Hold My Own. Great tunes. They just put out another single that came out recently. Sounds really, really good. So he's, I saw a meme the other day. I'm at that point in my life where I don't know where I'm at, but I know I'm at that point. So I'm at that point in my life where I don't give a fuck about the bullshit. I just want to have fun. I don't want to argue with nobody. You want to cut me off in the car? Go ahead. You want to get cut in the line? Go ahead. I don't want to fight with nobody. I don't want to argue with nobody. I don't want to I want to have fun. Look at that smile.
It's a good place to be, Chris. I can relate to that. I try not to get too upset about anything or too excited about anything, and I'm just grateful for what I have, and I have a nice life, and I appreciate my friends and
I've always been the person to worry about. You ask my friends, they'll tell you I've always worried about making sure my guys are taken care of. I always was curious what would be next, what's happening around the corner, right? I was always thinking about the future, and I still am to a certain extent. I'm just not as worried about it because we lost Kevin. He went to sleep and didn't wake up. Tonight, I might do the same thing. So I'm not going to be pissed. I'm not going to bed angry. I kiss my wife goodnight every night. I kiss my boys goodnight every night. I feed my fishes. We recently lost our dog. He was almost 18 years old, Sonny, a pit bull. Like you don't know what's happening tomorrow. So I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to fight with you. It is what it is. Like even like sometimes at shows, like when we're selling merch, I'm probably not supposed to say this, but everything's digital now. So they'll show like, look, I paid. I said, listen, if you need to steal that, you need it more than I do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about it. I'm just having fun.
This kind of made me laugh. This made me laugh out loud, this one. This is great, man. Very
saw
funny.
that like 6 years ago in a meme or 7 years ago, and I was just like, I saved it in the phone and had it ever since.
Great. Really, really. If you know, you know, right? It's great.
Pretty
Really,
much. Especially that whole outfit right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Like to the T. To the T. Really, really funny. Once again, as everybody knows, our guest today is Chris from Bulldoze. If you got any questions, post them up. We're heading down the home stretch here.
Yeah, send the questions. There's
Who
got to be
did?
questions.
This is a good one. Where is that shot? I have that here somewhere. Let me find it. Who did the Bulldoze graffiti on the promo flyer for today's show?
You're going to have to post it. I don't even remember.
Yeah, let me
So
find
much
it.
has happened last week.
Yeah. Let me find it. Hold on. Let me get it. Bulldoze logo. Bulldoze. Huh. Where is it? Let's see if I can find it. Bulldoze skate deck.
That's something coming down the pike, maybe.
Yeah. Where is that? Hold on, I'll find it. Got it. I got it.
You made the flyer, didn't you?
Right, but
You made the flyer.
Yes, but we used this, and RS70 is our graffiti historian and lover. This shot.
Okay, so last year, was it last year? 2024? No, 2023. Shit, I don't remember. That exactly, Mike. That was done in France. So 2023, I think we went to Europe. We went to Europe end of June into July. We did 10 days out there. My boy Dirk, I don't know if you're listening. He's the tour manager out there for Napalm Death. He was our tour manager. Great guy. So we played the Super Bowl of Hardcore in France, and I believe you were just talking to somebody about Super Bowl of Hardcore in France earlier.
Yeah, May brought it up. Yeah.
So we played there, and the kids came up to us after the show, and they were showing us pictures of the mural that they did that day. So that's awesome. That's in Reims or something like that, France. Yeah. I was like, wow, this is awesome.
That's cool, man. That's great.
So that's in France. We come from France. Remember the Coneheads? We come from France.
Yeah. That one great clip they did with Frank Zappa. With Zappa and the Coneheads. It's fantastic. You said
that was a fun tour, but it was brutal. The drives were tough, and getting on the ferry and off the ferry and making sure we get back to the airport in time. It was like one of the drives was like 18 hours or something to make it back for one show, and it was just like, but it was great because it was all larger stuff too. So it was fun. It was all big festival stuff. I enjoy the big festival stuff. These guys like the smaller stuff, the more intimate stuff. But it was nice. I mean, we got to play, like, we didn't share the stage with these bands, but like Ex Hoarder was on another stage. Like, we did 3 shows with Killing Time out there. Chromags played. We shared the stage with Chromags. The Koyo was out there. Comeback Kid. Wow. Like all these bands that I like. That was the first time I actually watched.
That was a Super Bowl. What was that called?
It was called the Super Bowl of Hardcore in France.
Wow. Right on.
Yeah. We played that show, and that was the first time I actually got to watch Koyo live and Sal play drums. Have you ever seen Sal play drums from the band Koyo? Mm-mm. If you haven't, you should. Phenomenal drummer. This kid, I was completely like jaw drop type shit. I'm like, wow, look at the chops on this kid. But that show was magnificent. The fans were great. I was actually there's I don't know. I think I sent you a picture of the Bulldoze Band-Aid sticker. It looks like a Band-Aid. It says, "I survived Bulldoze." So I was walking around after the show.
You know what? I thought it was a skate deck. I wasn't sure what it was.
It was meant to be a skate deck idea, and it turned out to be a sticker. So I actually had stickers that were made that were like 4 inches by 1.5 inches. And we would walk around and I would walk around and ask people, "Hey, did you get hurt at the Bulldoze show?" And people would say, no, I didn't get hurt. Or somebody was like, "Yeah, I broke my wrist," or "Look at my eye." Like, well, here you go. You need a Band-Aid.
Right.
We played a show in Canada. There's a video of it. I'm going to send it to you later. This girl, I forget her name, but we played a show in Canada, and a steel chair comes out of the right side of the screen and whacks her in the face. Right? It turns out the leg of the chair pierced her cheek, and she didn't fucking leave the show. Wow. She stayed for the rest of the show. And I get off stage, I go outside, hot sweating, and she's sitting there bleeding. They give her a chair and everything. I'm like, am I going to be that asshole that walks up to her and gives her a Band-Aid sticker? I'm like, shit. Like, I didn't. But the guys are like, oh, we gave her T-shirts and stuff. She's cool about it, everything. So I gave her like 7.
Right on.
They turned out to be cool. People like them. It's a cool little knack gift.
This is a great question from Manel Depor. Chris mentioned Bayonne. We recently lost a famous drummer of Polish descent from Bayonne in Clem Burke from Blondie.
I didn't know he was from Bayonne.
Yeah, and Polish. Who are your drumming influences, Chris? What drummers really resonated for you?
I mean, I have to say Lars. Lars Ulrich, I liked Metallica as a kid. What am I going to say? I'm not going to lie. Lars Ulrich was a huge influence. I actually love Stuart Copeland. I love rest in peace, Neil Peart. I I know this is going to sound funny, but Danny Schuler.
Nothing's funny about that, bro.
Loved his playing, and then becoming friends with him afterwards was just an honor, and being friends today is just great. He was a big influence. A lot of that early stuff was just like, wow, I want to sound like that. I want to hit that snare drum, and I want to make that thing explode just like that. And
you and I just crossed paths in the recording studio where Biohazard was recording a new record. I've been sorting through all that footage that me and my brother shot. And you're
I didn't know that was your brother. Okay.
You didn't know that was my brother?
No.
Yeah, I didn't know
that. My
brother
Danny
who. My brother shot
down to do backing vocals on the new record, which I was also very honored to do. I was a little kid in the candy store. I was like, what? And then all our friends came. We had Sal, Sworn Enemy, Jimmy, Fury of 5, Frankie was there. It was great. It was like just hanging out at a show, having a good time.
Hey, Danny Schuler inspires me.
Billy was yelling at everybody. Evan was telling everybody to be quiet. Danny was, doing Danny stuff. It was great.
Danny Schuler inspires me, and I'm not even a drummer. And it transcends that. Like the way he plays and the spirit that he has, and Danny, incredible drummer.
Danny, very influential for me. Like I said, if you listen to some of the older, the newer maybe Bulldoze stuff, you'll hear some ideas. Some of his stuff is just, I really enjoyed what he does, and I still do today. Like that new record. Oh my God,
it's great.
I cannot wait for people to hear that.
Yeah,
it's going to be fucking phenomenal.
Yeah,
I drove Evan to his hotel that night because oh God, what's his name? His car broke down. I forget. Anyway,
give me a clue. Phil Caivano?
No, it wasn't Phil. It was one of the Jersey guys. I forgot his name. Jesus Christ.
Kelly
Kelly car couldn't start or whatever. So I drove Evan to the hotel, and then I'm sitting in the parking lot with Evan. He was like, "Yo, you want to hear the new song?" I was like, "Okay." We heard one song. He's like, "You want to hear another?" I was like, "Okay." And then he stopped asking me. He just played all the new songs from front to back, and I was like, "Wow, this is
it's great, really good."
Because at the studio, all you get to hear is the part that you're singing on.
Yeah.
But here, I'm listening to the whole song. It was really good stuff.
Yeah, anyway. Steve. Danny Schuler
is Biohazard stuff. That's nothing.
That's okay. Danny Schuler's playing at Dingbats tomorrow in Clifton, New Jersey. He's playing with Jamie Jasta from Hatebreed. They're doing it's like a Jasta thing with Bobby Blitz from Overkill, and they're doing a bunch of covers and stuff. I think.
I believe so. I'm not. I saw the ad, but I didn't know what it was all about.
Yeah. So
I can't make it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I gotta go do the Uptown Rumble thing. which I'm a part of up in the Bronx. But that said, what does the future hold as we head down the home stretch, and what are we looking at for Bulldoze?
We've all been busy doing our own things. Like I said, Mike recently had a change in his career. I recently had a change in my career, doing different things. Mike's also busy with other bands. Zach is also very busy with his other musical things. We did recently speak about. At first, it was just weird. Like, what are we even gonna entertain trying to do anything? But I believe we're gonna get into the studio soon and possibly put some tunes together. See how it goes, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, these songs were written a long time ago. So, are we able to reincarnate that same magic? Is it going to sound the same, or is it going to sound like a new Bulldoze? We don't know, but we're going to go and have fun with it and see what happens. That's happening we're going to start in May. We're going to start having some more fun in May. So maybe not, who knows?
That's exciting.
I don't want to say yes, I don't want to say no. I would like to say yes, but I can't say yes, I can't say no. Maybe. We're working on things.
I have a good feeling about it. You guys are enjoying like a real renaissance, well deserved. It's just incredible that all that work you put in as teenagers has now that you're heading towards the twilight of your life is what you're known for.
Actually, we are extremely popular in Indonesia.
Yeah.
What?
There you go. We're huge in Indonesia.
Yeah, we're very, very popular in Indonesia. Like bootleg T-shirts are in Indonesia. Like that kind of stuff.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thanks for being a part of the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live today. It was great having you. I really enjoyed it. Is there anybody you want to shout? Is there any shout out? Is there anybody you want to thank?
Absolutely not. Nobody. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you. Thank you for people look at me when they meet me in person and they're like, wow, he's like scary. Like I'm not. So I like to joke around and make people think that I'm this big scary person, but I'm really a softy, big teddy bear. But I mean, thank you for having me out here. Thank you for reaching out and saying, yo, Chris, you want to do this? And I was like, sure, my guys, Zach, Mike, George, Ray, for keeping this thing together. My wife for letting me do it. All the fans, all the friends, new friends that we met, old friends that we haven't seen in years. Everybody that still is supportive and wants to see us do what we kind of enjoy to do. So, thank you to the fans. Thank you. I want to shout out Debbie. I want to shout out Damien and Gabriella, Kevin's wife and kids. We made a pact amongst ourselves to make sure that she is a part of what we have going on for Kevin. So we're still a 5-piece team. He's just looking down from above, making sure that we're safe and comfy, But yeah, all the fans, people that still want us to do this, that still want to come see us, that still ask to come. Danny Schuler, he's been in my ear all the time about trying to do this and trying to do that. Frankie, Mr. Mint himself, they really want to do some good things down at that VFW hall. Yeah, I don't know if he spoke to you about that, which is going to be good. They need that down there. Everybody that's been supportive, everybody that sends a cool message, everybody that sends us, we look at all the Instagrams, we check everything. Send us a message on Instagram, send us an email. Like I said, I recently did like a YouTube page that I'm going to start putting stuff on YouTube. So everybody that supports, everybody that helps, even that help you, I'd like to shout them out. Thank you, all of you.
Well, thanks, Chris. I'll see you. It's been a real pleasure. I enjoyed having you on. And I'll see you soon, man.
You got to get Mike on. You got to get Mike Bulldoze on.
Yeah, we'll get Mike.
A wealth of knowledge right there that is insane.
Mike, I'll be reaching out. I'm doing another round of booking shows probably next week, and we'll get you on, man. We'll get Mike on. We'll keep. Hey, thank you, Mimi. Thank you for
wasn't it Eddie's? It was speaking of Mimi, because she did that. It was Eddie's birthday recently, right? Eddie something, and it was funny. I received the funeral card in the mail from his sister.
Yeah,
I just got that in the mail the other day. Eddie was a huge influence, and then Zach got into a band. Yeah, and then Zach got into a band with him. Like it was, and then I became friends with Eddie Leeway. I'm like, what? Like, yep. It's awesome how many people we meet.
Rest in peace,
Mad
Eddie
Balls,
Leeway. I just got
Eddie. You know what I mean? Monkey Pup guys, Dog Eat Dog guys. Kevin did a lot for us to get us to where we are today, even outside of Bulldoze, our own personal other projects. I hope he's chilling up there. I hope he's not doing too much trouble up there.
Oh, I'm sure him and Kevin are hanging out. There you go. All right, I'll talk to you soon, man. Take care.
All right, brother.
Thank
you.
Bye-bye.
Later.
Well, there you have it. Great show. But then again, that's the business we're in. That's the life we're in. That's the business we're in. It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. Good to see everybody today. It was great seeing May and Mimi and Lori Dawn and Sean Dixon. Yo, did I see that right? Is Kickback playing New York? Is Kickback from France playing New York? Or is that an April Fool's thing? Did you see that? Sean Dixon? Anybody? That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Tomorrow, I will be up in the Bronx for the Uptown Rumble event. I will be there with my beloved wife. Sunday, a week from today, we will be back here with Des Cadena and Bob Lee from Astral Jets. So there's a lot going on. You don't want to miss it. See you in the Bronx. May, come back soon, please. Don't be a stranger. Don't let it be another year or two before you're back, So I hope you enjoyed it. I sure did. Until next time, tell your loved ones that you love them. Life is short. We talked about that today. Man, let's not talk about coulda, shoulda, woulda, maybe, and, but, or if. Let's just be all about it. Until next time, do good things. The good things will come.
Conditioned by indoctrination, conditioned by society. You're a victim of the digital age, a 21st century casualty.